Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
All right. Apologies. Yeah, no, I didn't get the mobile message. So first time I was on the computer, I'm like sitting here trying to make the mic work. And yeah, you said the mobile word. So I'm good. Sorry about that.
No. Yeah, Spaces is really weird. You can't talk if you're on a computer or even an iPad. I don't know how it works for Android, but you got to be on your phone for some reason. It's just how they have it set up for some reason.
Yeah, that's so weird. Because I literally got it up on both my computers. I was like, man, I must be doing something wrong. So I'm glad you guys said mobile. Thanks for being patient.
Absolutely. Thanks for the idea. I figure we give it a couple more minutes and see if anybody else pops up, and we'll dive into it. Sutherland's being awfully quiet over there. He must have his hand full with his girls or something.
No, man, I'm multitasking. I'm gaming while I wait for you guys to get set up, but I'm here, so don't worry about it. I'm ready.
Did you do the beta invite for Paradox?
I haven't got it yet, though. I know you guys were going to give me a key, but I haven't got it yet. I don't know what to do to actually get the invite.
Okay.
But I'm intrigued about the game since you guys played so much. I really want to get to know it.
We're having fun. We're definitely having fun. Kobold will tell you he turned me into a trash man.
Also, I'm finishing again multitasking. I got us a nice new sponsorship for the Star Citizen organization with a company that manufactures mounts for Whirlpool and VKB sticks and Hoda. So we were able to secure a sponsorship for that. So I'm actually working with them to get our code set up on the website and shit like that. So
very
easy, man.
Phenomenal, brother. That's phenomenal.
Very cool.
I'll actually get you guys acquainted because I do know that they are very much into similar games to Star Citizen and Elite Dangerous, and they do know the future of Star Atlas. So, again, the wealth of my friends is my wealth, so I'll get him in touch with you so he can probably join your Discord servers as well. So you can start chatting with him. He's a really cool guy. So
very cool. I'm sure everybody's excited about that.
Hey, I just wanted to. I've been wanting to listen to this room all day, but I have something coming up. I know it's recorded. Who's going to host it, or can I find it afterwards?
I will definitely retweet it, and I'll probably even throw it up on YouTube.
Okay, so I'll just follow you. Thanks.
Okay, cool. I don't know. We ready to get started?
Let's get it going, baby.
Let's do it.
All right,
I'm good to go. Yep.
All right, I'll start with myself. My gaming history has been a long one. I'm Gen X, so I've been at it for a very long time. You know, I could go back to betas and alphas and closed alphas. And, you know, I even beta tested Xbox Live before it was released to the public, which was cool. Back then, they actually used swag. I still have some of the stuff from it boxed up somewhere. You know, remember back in the day, you used to put the memory card in the actual controller. I have different colored ones for that and all. But I did a lot of Xbox testing. I did a lot of PC game testing. Obviously, played a lot of PC games. You know, my darling, probably the one that gripped me the most throughout history of my gaming, you know, non-console would be Star Wars Galaxies, where I learned to bounty hunt, PvP, you know, Guild Wars, just general faction wars, different things. You know, even down to the Sims Online, I broke that game where Will Wright, the maker of the Sims, it was in a magazine saying he used to love to watch these mafia clans just destroy the game. You know, find loopholes, and it was good times. I played Matrix Online. I'm a sci-fi geek. You know, I was into that for the story more so than anything. Did a lot of stuff. I missed the EverQuest. I did Ultima emulators. I missed Ultima because I was a console gamer at that time, and I was a young guy, so my social life was probably more important at the time. And basically touched almost every major game that's came out since then as a lone wolf. Been doing Star Citizen since right after the Kickstarter. Where it was just like what Star Atlas is doing. I was in a hangar. I was running around my ship in a hangar, nothing else. And then, as they slowly released pieces, I played and played and played, but as a lone wolf. So, lone wolf, you don't do a whole lot. And I got back into gaming mostly through Star Atlas, to be honest. Found the Alessio family. The gangster lore was something that was right up my alley, playing a gangster before, being from where I'm from. And it's kind of a little bit about me, but I've always been a big PvPer, a PK hunter, bounty hunter, assassin, things like that. War strategy is definitely something I like, but that's a little bit about me. Would love Kriggs, Moonman, and Sutherland to introduce themselves as well.
Yeah, hey, first, thanks, Frankie, for having me here today and having me on your spaces. Much appreciated. Really kind of just started us just shooting the crap back and forth. Just like, hey, what about this? And what do you think? And so now we're here with folks listening to us. A little bit about my history. I've been gaming since I'm pretty sure I was capable of picking up a controller. My dad bought one of the Super Nintendos for Christmas, and we would play Super Mario. And since then, I've pretty much played every genre under the sun, that they've come up and developed with. But some of my favorites are the space genre and MMOs. So Halo, played that a lot. Used to play that a bunch. After high school and after practice, all the guys would get together back when you have to had LAN parties and you hook up 4 Xboxes and you have 8-on-8 via 4 Xboxes. So definitely a long legacy of gaming. As I got older, the space genre kind of stuck through it all, and hopped into games like Eve Online. Playing that since 2009, off and on. And then as kind of the capabilities grow of gaming software and hardware, games like No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous played a significant amount of that as well. So on the MMO side, dabbled in pretty much everything, but Eve has probably been the biggest one to date, and definitely, when you talk about strategy and politics, as the deep profits folks know, that is a heavy hand in that game space, and kind of why we're here today to talk about.
I remember those Halo days, man. Did you ever do what was it called? Halo emulator, where it tricked the system to think it was on LAN, but it was actually online. That was wild, man. I was playing Halo Online before Xbox Live came out, man. It was fantastic. Capture the flag favorite, man.
No, it's pretty awesome. My mom wouldn't let me have an Xbox Live account, so I had to start working and paying my own bills until I got one.
She was smart, unlike me. I let my kids have it all. Moon, tell everybody. Tell them what the Moon Man experience is all about.
Oh, snap, man. Well, first and foremost, thank you for letting me come up here and speak. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, my name is the Moon Man, operations officer for the Final Frontier, content creator for Star Atlas and Metaverse as a whole, Metaverse personality. But we're talking games here, so let's get straight into like my game history. So I remember back in 2001 being 8 years old and playing, getting a PlayStation 2 and my mom getting me the game Grand Theft Auto 3. I think that was pretty fitting. That probably wasn't the best game for an 8-year-old back then, but the world was a different place at that time, right? And that game was amazing. That was fun. Obviously, games before that I played. Me and Crypto were just talking about Sega and stuff and playing Sonic on there. But you moving in a little bit further into the future. I remember playing Call of Duty on Xbox 360, and I'll tell you a funny story. If anybody remembers lag switches, I remember taking my Ethernet cable and cutting it, and then going and getting a light switch and tying the ends around the light switch. And then so when I would turn it on, the internet would shut off. Or no, when I had it on, the internet would be on. And then when I would turn it off, that my internet would cut out. It would freeze the screen for everybody else. And I'd be able to move around for like 10 seconds and then switch it back on, doing crazy shit like that. That was a pretty fun time. What else? Now I'm into this whole space thing, and I've been into space my whole life, obviously, but this is the first go around really playing like space sims like Star Citizen, and I've never really played it before. Yeah, I remember back in like 1999 playing the flight sim and that crappy joystick. I remember my grandparents had one, and I didn't touch it for another 20 years till now, right? And man, just being in that spaceship, hand on the throttle, hand on the joystick, looking for dual joysticks in the future, but starting at a basic level. I didn't want to, be a poser and go crazy into it. Just wanted to get some basic stuff. And, these flight sims, this flight sim Star Citizen feels amazing. And, I've been playing with some people that have been playing for a while, and they're like, yeah, man, you're doing some stuff, like some movements to see that you only have like a week in it. Like, you're moving and grooving. This might be something you want to stick with. And I'm like, bro, I feel it. You know what I mean? I feel it in my bones like a Anakin Skywalker. I got the force in me, man. So, yeah, that's a little bit of game history, a little bit of future gaming going on. And I'm just ready to get this going, man. So that's me, man.
Sutherland, man, tell everybody about it, man. It's a Star Citizen blockchain ambassador right here.
No, man, I'm surrounded by celebrities, but thank you very much for having me. Honored to be on the same stage as Moonman and you guys. And I started pretty much. And it's gonna be a boring story, but I started with my sci-fi journey and gaming journey started with books. I was chatting about this with Frankie and some of the members from the family the other day. Foundation by Isaac Asimov was my introduction to sci-fi, and since then I've been hooked and in love. Um, I'm more into the everything and anything behind the scenes when it comes to games. So I believe that games, strategy games, and things like that are won in boardrooms and with alliances and with preparation, not specifically or necessarily inside of a fighter ship. So that's pretty much what I have been doing since 2006. I was very much involved in EVE Online. I dabbled a bit in Stellaris, not that much because you really need to, it kind of uh, takes life away from you. It's a game that needs a lot of dedication. I actually have a lot of admiration for those that are into Stellaris. Been in Star Citizen like Frankie pretty much since the beginning. I helped found one of the biggest orgs in Star Citizen as of right now, which is Nova Intergalactic. I did that with some friends and me and a very cool Star Citizen streamer, Justin Me. We were like, man, we would like to do something a little bit more elaborate and intricate. So we decided to pretty much do it again, start from scratch with an org dedicated to more, gray areas and the gray scenarios in between the good and the bad within the game. So we started a new one that it's already getting a lot of traction. So that's going to be my second endeavor within Star Citizen. I pretty much own all ships in the game, but two of them. We work also as sponsors for logistic managers and transportation and security endeavors for Admo Esports for the Daymar Rally and things like that. So with an alliance that we are part of also called the Nova Syndicate Alliance. So we're very, very, very involved within Star Citizen. And again, I'm a lover of good stories, of good games, of elaborate partnerships and things that actually bring value to the game. But I pretty much played everything. I was a bit of a Call of Duty knucklehead at once and FPS and things like that. I played Destiny 2 with my daughter and my wife kicks my ass in Mortal Kombat. So I do a little bit of everything. But yeah, the games like Star Citizen and of course Star Atlas are the ones that actually take my attention. So yeah, again, thank you very much for having me here, and hopefully we're gonna have a fruitful conversation.
Man, I get it, man. It's got a game attached to it. I will try it, man. It doesn't have to. There's a lot of people that are like console versus PC. I think that's dying, to be honest with you. But I've always had them all, man. I've had every console I get my hands on. Like, do I need a PS, and an Xbox? Like, no. But at the time, like I got a PS4 just for No Man's Sky. I mean, I like to geek out on my space stuff, man. I really do. But I mean, I like shooters. These days, you know, I even did Fortnite when it was beta, and my son loves throwing them old. He calls them the OG skins around, like, so he'll jump on my account with his friends sometimes. But man, the kids are a little bit quicker than me these days, man, and twitchy fingers or whatever. But I still, it doesn't matter what console it's on. Sometimes sitting on the couch is more fun. It's just more relaxing in ways. But and of course, Sutherland, I can't wait for Starfield. I'm gonna just tell people I'm out of the country
Oof.
for a week, and that's it. I'm
You
gone.
know, we're gonna jam that together, right? Because that
Hell
game
yeah,
looks incredible.
hell yeah. It's going to be. I think it's going to be a blast, man. And
Mm.
I even liked when ESO came out. I first started playing it on the PC. Then it came out for consoles. I jumped on the console. Those wars in there. I remember at least in the beginning because I had stopped doing it a while back. Those wars in there were kind of fun, man, because you had destruction and knocking down doors, and there was strategy to it, man. It wasn't just a bums rush Zerg type thing. You had the right team defending those castles in ESO, man. It was tough to take it back or take it over, or you know what I mean. It was fun, and there was a lot of strategy to that. Different attack points, different pillars in different areas. And I think that's a lot of what blockchain's missing right now. I never hear anyone speaking of pillars. The pillars are important, man. Granted, space games are different. Ships are different, but you still got long range snipers. You still got some type of healers. You still got your tanky ships. You still got your squishy damage dealers. Okay, we're missing warlocks, but I'm sure there's something. Especially maybe a warlock's an EMP ship. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's still always something there to fits the pillars, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I actually, this is a good segue for the main subject, right? I think, like we were chatting about it last night with the rest of the Atlaser crew. I think Star Atlas is going the right direction. I do understand what they were doing or what they are doing as of right now. I do get that, one of the main areas that provides a very intricate and elaborate and not for everybody quote unquote appeal to what Star Atlas is the NFT crypto blockchain universe that it's attached to it. But again, like we were also chatting the yesterday night, they also need to cater a little bit much to the gamer heads out there, because ultimately you can have a bunch of investors and a bunch of guys that finance and all A's and B's when it comes to making money. But ultimately, all that as per what they have given to us, the direction that the game is going to take, and how we're going to be able to interact with the game. I don't want to feel like I'm trading all the time and just clicking left and right to supply a ship and just being a 1 2 3 static kind of thing. So gameplay is going to be super important. I think not by the people that are here, of course. That's why we're here. But I think other people tend to overlook it. Of course, and this, Frankie, we have been preparing hardcore for that gameplay aspect. We're already working with you guys to make you proficient with anything and everything that comes to mind when it comes to space games and strategies and things like that. But I do believe that it's been overlooked a bit. I had a meeting with Santi and Steve last week about this, and after the big reveal that they had, and I was like, man, I know you guys doing a great job, but I do believe that something needs to cater to us gamers a little bit more. Because again, not everyone's a financial head, and you need both aspects of it all to make Star Atlas work. So
I agree. And you know what? That's what's cool about a lot of you Eve veterans, because you guys already got investments out there. Or even Star Citizens, because I mean, we're back in the game, with real cash, not just buying $80 and you're into the game and complaining. It's a crossover in my eyes, like with the investments that you guys made in that game, Star Citizen. Personally, I was playing the gray market really early in the game. I would make coin and sell it on eBay. Like NFT has always been ahead. It's just nobody formed it yet until the crypto market has done what it's done with blockchain gaming. And the traditional gamers are what's really going to support all of our investments right now. Without their diehard, hardcore ways, man, it's not going to do what it can do. And we need the traditional gamers, and we need to market to them as guilds, as players, as businesses, and gamified businesses are coming, man. I got more ideas than a friggin' think tank out in some mountain. You know, I want to make everybody money. I want everybody to have. I want to gamify business, man. I want people to play, enjoy themselves, and war is going to be a big part of it because there's always bad actors. There's always people that want to make money some certain way, some certain play style, and I think that also kind of leads into what we're talking about. And I mean, Kriggs, you've played Eve, man. You kind of know all about it, right?
Yeah, touching on your point real quick. Yeah, crazy statistic: 3 billion people in the world are gamers, and if you think about it, that's of 8 million people on this planet. You're telling me, a third of the world are gamers, right? And $42 billion in gaming revenue, last year alone. That's only going to go up, and so here at Star Atlas, in the Star Atlas community, we see that from investors and blockchainers and NFTers, but you bring the full force of the traditional gaming market into this. That is an unstoppable force. That if it hits right, that's a catalyst for a lot of things. But with that, right, what we're here today is talk about is the traditional game and gamers mentality. Those of you who played Call of Duty back in 2007, Modern Warfare, know what it's like. Being in a COD lobby, waiting for your game to start and talking trash to the other team. Right? I don't know what it is about games, but I don't know if it's because people can uh, escape from the real world. There's no consequences. They want to live a different persona. But some traditional gamers, I would say a good portion of traditional gamers, including myself, enjoy a good amount of PvP and destruction at other people's expense. So, what does that mean for the Star Atlas community when now we have real world assets on the line? And it's no longer, oh, my kill death ratio suffers. Oh, now my Visa's OPOD got blown up in the high resource zone, and now I got to figure out how to get that back. So that's some of the things that I think about and ponder many hours late in the night of how's that going to influence not just the individual person but collectives, right? You have guilds, like Alessio, Deep, and then you have larger alliances. This is only going to shape the political and economic scene of Star Atlas for hopefully the next decade.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point there. With people actually losing real, assets and real money. It's just gonna up. It's gonna take game IQ to the next level because you're gonna have to, um, cross your T's and dot your I's 3 times. You're gonna have to measure 10 times, not 2 times. Everything is going to be taken to a higher level, and you're really going to have to pay attention to what's going on and be smart with the moves that you make in game. So it's going to be fun, you know.
Agreed. And just the game grind all by itself is going to be amazing. I mean, I could tell you in Paradox Realms, if I was playing GTA 5, let's just say, because it's on the Rage engine, so it's very similar, I would not be grinding out trash runs for money right now. So that NFT aspect, that crypto aspect, kind of gives you some kind of invigoration just to get the smallest things done. Now, if somebody comes along and screws that up, you're going to get mad and want to get them back real quick, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And taking it into a bigger a scale kind of thing. I don't know. In Eve, right? The end game was kind of just to be the biggest kid on the block, to have the most resources, to dominate the most space. Um, I believe with Star Atlas, there's a different point, right? It's more of a universe, a metaverse, a society, a communal space, and yes, conflict is going to be a huge part of that. But when people talk, and I listen to all kinds of different engagements of, we're going to have jobs, people are going to be able to earn livings within the game and doing, maybe taking out space trash or salvaging, blown up ships, and that's what they want to do. I do think the different aspects within the Star Atlas space will bring a little more stability to the overall metaverse, vice just constant conflict. Because I do think there's incentives for responsible governance through the DAO and Polis, as well as incentives to not blow each other's stuff up all the time, because it does cost money, right? Wars in real life cost a lot of money. You hear it now, like Russia is bleeding dry because the war that they thought was going to last shorter is taking much longer. And so, they maybe didn't cross all those T's and dot those I's. And so now they're having to go back and rethink, okay, how much more is this going to cost us? And now they're starting out to do cost benefit analysis. And I think, every guild, player, and alliance, they're going to have to face those decisions down the road.
Dude, that's a great point. You know what? That's something I didn't really think about too much, but war costs money. And, it's not the deepest pockets per se, but, if you're going to go on a full on, offensive towards somebody, it's going to cost you resources and it's going to end up costing you citizens. Unless you're very victorious and you come away with a big bag. But we all know war. I mean, real life, fake life, whatever you want to call it, man. War costs money. It takes time. It takes resources. It takes manpower. It takes brains, which is really why we're here. But I mean, it takes brains. I mean, and strategy is something that's going to be extremely important. And that even talks towards like gear. Like I'm talking real life stuff. You're going to need a high end computer to really get at the PC. You're going to want no lag. You're going to want a fast card, a dedicated, service, maybe, just so you can make your money. And it's, salvaging, man. In another life, I'd love to be a salvager. That would be a great gig if you think about it, man. I mean, there is a spot for everybody within the metaverse, man. It really is.
And the beautiful thing too is you bring up a good point about it's not just in-game assets that you're going to have a lot of, and that's going to cost you money, because like you said, war does cost money. But to speak on, you're going to also need to have high-end equipment, and one way that you could pay for this high-end equipment is obviously playing the game and being well at that game. But you can also invest some time into yourself and run yourself a business. Make sure you're a business, right? And you can have tax write-offs for the power that you're generating, that you're using while playing that PC. You can just so many different things like that, and so many different little loopholes that you can make some extra cash back through not having to pay those taxes, through little write-offs and stuff like that. So there's a lot of ways that you got to even be smart outside of the game to make sure that you're staying up to date on all the things that you need to stay up to date on. Equipment, good assets in the game, good equipment on the outside. So there's a lot that comes into this, man, for sure.
Home office write-off. You're right. I mean, it's all business expense at the end of the day when you're doing it hardcore, and it's a business. You're right. Every one of us is. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, every one of us is a business, regardless of if you're collecting a paycheck, salary. Have your own gig. We're all a business. So strategy is a big part of it. No matter what kind of game, space, foot, racing. I mean, it's all even when you get into just the social sims, it's all a strategy of marketing yourself and having that strategy laid out.
Yeah, and I think business is going to be the key to de-escalation within the Star Atlas metaverse. As we went through our book club for the Eve history of Eve, right? A lot of the big wars were kind of tit for tat wars that drug thousands of players into conflict and destruction. But the common thread that that was I personally drew out from the narrative was, oh, this person, wronged me this one way, so I'm happen to be a leader of an alliance, so I'm gonna take the alliance to war because this guy did X. There was no, I guess, at the end of the day, monetary gain, because obviously Eve's not built on the blockchain. So I think some of those aspects people will definitely have to account for, and that's where I think the blockchain crypto folks will have a slight edge over the traditional gamer folks. Now, on the flip side, I think the traditional gamer folks definitely have a leg up when it comes to that strategy discussion and how to coordinate, organize, and mobilize large fleets and people in the event that they do need to move those people in a certain direction.
I agree 100%. And that's the thing. The traditional gamers, they have it. I mean, I know for a fact there's a certain edge. Like, I don't like that guy, which kind of leads into the bounty hunting aspect. You have games that you can actually, either in mechanic or not mechanically, say, okay, this guy, he leads this claim. I don't like him. 1 million bounty on his head. Somebody bring me his head. It becomes competitive and half his clan gets wiped out, or her clan. I don't want to sexualize it because I've gamed with a lot of women, and they were better than most men I know at gaming and at organization and keeping shit together, and that's the truth. Everybody's got a place. The stereotype stuff really doesn't play into it anymore, which is really cool. But bounties can be in game or just between players. I mean, and it happens all the time. But I had started my own guild wars when I led guilds. I was the head guy, and yeah, it was because someone slighted me, or I just didn't like the way they treated my people or me, and it's like, let's go after them. Now, we didn't lose assets back then. You could always regrind it and get it back. Now we're talking about real dollars here. I mean, it's either going to be worse or better. I've been known to say a $15 ship or $15 investment of any sort, I'm going to chase it to the end of time just because it's a pride thing. It's not really about $15. It's pride for me.
Bring up a great point there. I know you and I were half-handedly quoting Sun Tzu, last week in the Discord, but many wars have been lost due to pride. Many wars have been lost also because leaders have failed to take good inventory of their logistics and financials prior to starting a war. So that'll, I think, be important, right? Just because you have X amount of assets on hand at day one, let's say you outnumber, your adversary 100-1, but what is your capability at replenishing that rapidly, when conflict comes up? Because no plan ever survives first contact, as they say. So how adaptable is your group, how flexible and how responsive is your group after the first failure? And I think if you can determine that within your respective guilds and teams and ship flights, you'll have a better handle on how you'll overcome adversity when those moments arise.
I agree 100%.
One of also, I don't want to interrupt you guys, but also one of the good things about all that we're talking about, and again, people might overlook that, is that what you guys are mentioning, which I agree 100% with, also sheds some light to a very important thing is that people need to actually choose their community very well, not only within Star Atlas, but within any game that offers that extra aspect when it comes to logistics and what needs to be done to be able to excel at the game, or at least to be competitive. Because, like you guys said already, even within Star Citizen, I mean, people are having fun right now. And again, I was chatting about this last night, and Frankie can attest to this. People are having fun right now, but when you start like losing your shit and losing your armor because someone robs it out of your dead body, and your ship gets dismantled to pieces, all the fancy components taken away from you, all that's gonna change. And I know I cannot use names, but we had very recently one of a big rep from one of the biggest guilds within Star Atlas that kind of has been playing, Star Citizen here and there, and he was like, "Man, I have a bunch of money, and people are gonna have to, bow down to my whims and my wishes and desires because I'm gonna have the most assets and shit like that." And I was like, "Dude, I mean, again, like you guys said, financial is important, and I get it, and I think everybody here gets it. If you have big shiny things, that does something to people's psyche." But when that was mentioned, we were in an operation in one of our best combat officers. His name is Cheez-Its. If you ever run into a guy named Cheez-Its in Star Citizen, just run. And he was like, "Dude, I'll take your fancy saber or your super hornet or any ship you got, and I'll show you a lesson in a basic level Aurora, and I'll kick your ass left and right." I mean, wealth and the amount of ships do nothing versus logistics and good strategy. And we actually did something like a little exercise in which we were able to gather 10 of our best folks with just Auroras versus 10 of our people that are just getting into the game and start gaming and stuff within Star Citizen, not very proficient when it comes to combat. And we own their ass every single time with basic ships. And this guy from this huge guild that was able to, just getting into Star Citizen and spend like $5,000, I think, in his first day of, shopping spree by getting all the, the coolest ships in game, was humbled by someone that was just a better gamer and a better strategist. So I think, again, it has to do a lot with the people you hang out with, your goals within the game. If you have a good support system that knows what they're doing, and also clear goals, man. Like you guys said, also you can be anything you want to be within Star Atlas, within Star Citizen, and that's good. But you also need structure, and you also need people that know what they're doing behind you, because if not, you're gonna get chewed up. Talking about game, and of course talking about how your wallet's gonna feel that as well. Because if you lose shit in Star Citizen, it's gonna cost you. If you lose shit in Star Atlas, it's gonna cost you. So that's something to keep in mind.
Excuse me, and excuse me. And I think you brought up a really good point, right? People I think need to understand who they are and humble themselves. This is my first time hearing about this this Star Atlas guy getting into Star Citizen, but that's just hilarious to me, because there's two ways you can go in life, especially when it comes to new games, right? Since we're speaking on that, you can go into it like, I'm going to be top dog and try to beat everybody. Well, now you just put a target on your back. Or you can do, not to speak of myself, or you can do what I'm doing in Star Citizen, which is shit. I'm just putting out my videos to show my progress, but I'm also out here willing to learn. And I know that there's so many other people that are better, and I can actually learn from them, rather than throwing a fucking, you know, uh, putting a bounty on my back and being like, I'm going to dominate everybody and go spend $5,000 in Star Citizen and just get wrecked. Silly.
Yeah,
Really, really
yeah.
silly.
Yeah.
Stupid play on his part. I don't even know who he is, but
I actually, if Frankie's on our server, and again, our server is open for anybody and everybody that wants to learn the ropes when it comes to Star Citizen, and the Dowcaster will help. We're actually helping him building his rig for Star Citizen, and we already have some training sessions for him so he can get acquainted with combat and stuff like that. But if you have been into Eve, and I think we all the ones that have been or were invested in it, we remember Test and Goon Swarm and Red Alliance and Band of Brothers and those guys. And one of the dudes that actually transitioned very well from Eve to Star Citizen is Montoya. a big head from Test back in the day, and he was actually chatting with me about this the other day. He was like, for him, it's hilarious. All the big talk about coming to Star Citizen and take names just because you have a big crypto wallet. And like Moonman said, dude, you have to be humble because we're talking about people that have being in this game for ages, and they know what they're doing. And same with Stellaris, and same with folks that have been in Eve for a long time. So again, it goes hand in hand with knowing what you need to do, knowing the group that you need to associate with. If you want to be a miner, find an org in Star Citizen that does a lot with mining. If you're in Star Atlas and you're more focused in the financials, you can find a group of people that are into that. It's all about having a clear mind and knowing exactly what your place is going to be and making the right decisions to get there, because these games are fun right now. And I mean, as someone that has invested over 15,000 and some change, I hope my wife doesn't hear that, but in Star Citizen, I know, even being in the game since 2016, I know I'm going to have to take care of my shit, because there's going to be people trying to get my idris away from me. And you know you have to take care of your stuff, man, and know what you're doing. And if you're just running around shooting people, you're going to get owned every single time. So strategy is going to be big in the game.
Exactly. And you know what? Spies have eyes, man. People think they could be safe in safe zones, and suddenly you could probably say this as well as I can. There's pad crashes in Star System. There's always a loophole in every game. Find it. Gamers will find that loophole. You think you're safe in a safe zone, and all of a sudden someone comes down, nosedives on you, just took out all your components, all your upgraded weapons. Listen, in some games it doesn't cost you money, but time is money, especially when you're into the crypto end of it. Time is money. So you've just wasted all your time, all your precious resources in the game that you grinded hard for. You may have been out mining rocks, and that may not be your thing to do, but you may have just spent a week to get the funds to upgrade your ship, to upgrade everything on it. All of a sudden, somebody pad crashes you. You're standing right next to it. Your armor's gone. I can't tell you how. I think I lost $600,000 in armor alone. I mean, now granted, I'm outfitting some guys that are coming through too, but I mean, I just constantly keep buying armor. All my sub armor, all gone. Everything's gone. I'm a knucklehead. I'm not big. I love space games, but I'm not into the flying as much. I like getting on the ground, man. It's the FPS in me. I like dogfighting, but I know there's guys out there. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos with the Hoytis and the mounts. They got game glass mounted up. They are in true command centers, and these are the guys that are going to come and go.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it's not only, and that's one of the things that I'm very curious about when it comes to Star Atlas, because obviously people that have assets and a lot of ships in game are going to have that advantage. But again, those of us that have been behind the helm when it comes to making an org function or making a guild function and making trade routes keep up and running and things like that, that numbers is just one part of the game. You can do a lot of havoc also when you have just a few guys with a lot of willpower and a lot of time in their hands. So it goes hand in hand with that. I'm very curious how Star Atlas is going to balance that, the financial aspect with the gameplay aspect, because again, you can be the biggest financial wizard, but if you can't fly for shit, I'm going to own you every single time. But also, I can be the best pilot, but if you have a wide array of assets, I'm going to be in trouble because how fast I'm going to be able to replenish my ships and get into battle. So it's a very fine line when it comes to balance. So I'm very curious how they're going to do that, sir.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. That's why I'm preaching to everybody. And look, I only get to play the game as here and there. Yeah, I think it shows on Discord when you're playing the game, but like that's why I tell everybody, man, like get what you can, get in the game and play some Star Citizen, man. You might look at it and be like, okay, well, this game's been out. You have people like Sutherland and, Frankie, you played for a little bit. You got these people that have played for quite some years, and it's like, oh, man, but I'm behind the curve. Well, you're not, because once you get into the game and you start playing, you got to remember 5 years' time when Star Atlas comes out, you're now 5 years experience to the person that might be 2 days experience when Star Atlas gets going. And you just got to take advantage of trying to learn a little bit and train yourself a little bit, because you made a really good point. It doesn't matter how much money you have and how many assets you have. If you can't fly your ship, you're getting destroyed and you're not doing anything in the game. You're not doing anything in the game, and you're actually just buying ships for other people because they're going to end up destroying you, taking your loot, or whatever the case may be. So prepare yourself, everybody. That's the biggest thing. Start training, do what you can, small time, and but you also have to have some intelligence when it comes to finances. And this is why being a part of a guild is great. You might not have the highest skill set in one department. Make sure you have a team member that has a high skill set there, and they can either teach you to be better in that department, or you can lean on them a little bit, whatever the case may be. But just use your brain, guys. You gotta prepare, man.
And on that note, listen, a bunch of us from Alessio started doing some beta testing for Paradox Realms, and I've had more fun with these guys playing in a game, gelling together, seeing everybody's style. Like, who's Leroy Jenkins besides myself? Who's the guy that dives in and just starts getting, but it's fun. We're talking strategy. Hey, what makes the most money? This makes money. This, hey, where do you get this? Where do you get that? And there is a lot of strategy, even in Paradox Realms, where it's not a space game, but there's ways to make money in game, which is very important. But gelling with your team is extremely important. You could have all the skills in the world and be surrounded by people that are just going, yeah, well, I was too busy at the time. So you could have two good dog pilots or two good soldiers or two good, whatever, anything. But if the whole team doesn't come together and play as a unit, there's going to be a lot of lacking strategy, a lot of lacking know-how in gameplay, because some people play games very different. The one guy may be a dog, and that's who he is, right?
Yeah.
And you guys should really, talk about a lot of the locust type mentality. Like, the Goon Squad, man, I've seen them in other games, man. Them guys zerged. Like, they just come through and they just leave a trail of bodies behind. But it was coordinated still. It wasn't just, a riot. You know what I mean? They came in coordinated. Like, they were set up.
Yeah, you guys are hitting on two very, very important points, and you both said it: training and teamwork, which can't be understated or underestimated. Um, you can have the best strategy in the world. You can have the winning strategy that has zero chance of failure, but if you've never practiced it, or your team has never gone through the repetitions or the movements, guaranteed that the first time you try it, your team is going to fail. So, as we talk all the way at the high level of, hey, make sure you have good strategy, good financial sense, and good self awareness, you also got to have the good hand mechanics, skills, and requisite teamwork foundation to be able to cross that whole domain all the way from the strategic level down to the very, very tactical level. And that's where you will find success. You can't have one or the other. You can't be all brains and no muscle, and at the same time you can't be all muscle and no brains. You gotta figure out how to balance it.
I agree 100%. And even with, you're talking, there's so much when you get into some of these games, they're so large. You got black ops. There's people out there that saying they have black ops now. They're putting people in. You know what? It said that we have a spy in our organization. It's a little too early for that. You're spinning your wheels, but you should be strategizing it for sure. And planning people this early in the game, everything's going to leak out eventually anyway, or somebody else is going to think of the same goddamn strategies. I can tell you, it's happened to me now like 5 times. I'm like, that was my secret sauce. Oh my god, why did they just say that in this Atlas brew? Sometimes Newt, I want to grab him and say, stop saying all this stuff, Newt. But you know what? Everybody's going to think of it regardless. It's going to happen. The nice part is,
True.
so early, like we're in a great place. We're in a great place to set up a lot of different initiatives, a lot of different things. But I always say spies have eyes, and let me tell you something. You could have the most assets on the planet. You could be bragging and showing off your gold chains and pinky rings and all that shit. If I got somebody in every port just waiting to see you, I don't need any game mechanic to know where you're going to go, where you're going, where you're being trailed to go. It's easy. If your ship's pointed a certain way and you hit some kind of hyper, QT and Star Citizen, they know where you're going, man. All they got to do is aim their QT travel the same way. Like, all right, he's going to go to X, Y, or Z. We'll follow your ass out until you get into the zones we can shoot you. So nothing's going to ever protect anybody. I mean, numbers sometimes they help, but it's cannon fodder. Without the right strategy, without the right skill, it's cannon fodder. And if you plan it right, really right, you could run it. You could run any kind of server you're on.
Yeah, and to follow up on that, I know, and I don't wanna throw a lot of flowers to our pirate friends out there, but it's not a secret that me as an example, me and Bomber from Skull and Bones, we have a very good relationship, and I've been able to jump into some events here and there, and those dudes are all in when it comes to what they want to do, and they're like, what do we need to do to take care of the ground combat aspect of things. So they'll jump into Halo and they will do something crazy in Halo. And I do know of other orgs that they can be like, what can we do when it comes to flying ships and stuff, and they would get into Star Citizen and do dogfighting a little bit here and there, and they would be like, what do we need to do when it comes to getting to point A to point B in a more efficient way and traversing hostile forces and things like that, and to do that they will get into Elite Dangerous. So the tools are out there, and don't get me wrong, I know there's gonna be uh, a lot of years until we get that gameplay capacity within Star Atlas. But when the time comes, guess who's gonna be the top dogs when it comes to providing security to their people, to their guilds, to their assets, to their profits, to even the financial aspect of things. The guilds that have prepared, that they're ready to take those, and that have documents, and that they have plan Bs and things like that, and they have spies in other guilds. All that is actually taking place right now, and it's an interesting time to be alive because we're just seeing the beginning of it. And when it comes to fruition, I think it's going to be one of the coolest things ever. So everybody needs to be ready, man, because it's coming.
Well, and to just follow up on that, I mean, ultimately, these are gaming organizations. I mean, finance bros, all that other BS. These are gaming organizations. If you're not gaming together, what's the sense? Talking in a Discord, that's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. It's too early to call yourself a true business until you have something that you can actually sell besides marketing and Discord. So it is important to play games now, regardless of what the game is. Camaraderie, man. Like in Alexia, we're kind of more family oriented, or like we're a gang, man. But we're tight. We are tight, man. We are tight as nails, and that to me is important. And like me and Boot, man, we just start jumping in games together, man. We have so much fun. I feel like Boot lives next door to me at this point, and that's what you need, man. That's who you're going to go to war for. That's your brother. You're going to die for your brother, even if it costs you $15. And I'm not hip to losing that.
Yeah,
I hear you guys thought on Eve, like how you lost assets in Eve and what have you. Like, I mean, you guys had really cool stuff going on over there. I just didn't jump into it because it was it was a little too late by the time I was done with the games I was playing at the time, where I had major time investments, major, just everything invested. To be honest with you, I'd like to hear more about the Eve.
Yeah. I mean, Eve is its own player driven economy, and so the kind of goal and end game of it was to be able to project your they call them corporations, but your corporation's power throughout your space and throughout your territory, and be a part of an alliance. And really, when it came to the high level gaming aspect of it, the alliance level gaming, it was straight out alliance on alliance warfare, and whoever, at the end of the day had the best strategy, um, could be able to defend or take whatever territory they needed to. And when it comes to resources, you would get whole gangs of people straight up just chewing up rocks, mining, and feeding the war effort to build these capital ships, Titans, you name it, huge ships that would take a single player, over a year to make themselves, or nearly impossible. You would get collectives of people, in one direction to build these out for the war effort. So, in terms of resources, I don't know, so you can maybe help me out, but in one Eve battle, the equivalent of multiple thousands of dollars were lost. Um, and it's not like crypto for those who are unfamiliar with Eve, right? There is a small corollary between currency and the in-game currency for Eve. You can buy some of that currency in-game, but it's only one way. You can't, extract that currency. So there's some small correlation there. So that's how they do those measurements. But um, people get salty when they lose those assets because, as you said, I think more so it's a time and pride thing. We spent 6 months building this big ship, and now it's gone. What am I going to do at the end of that? That drove continuous conflict for many years in Eve.
It's insane. It's completely insane, and that's what's cool. You guys want to open this up? I know we've been at it almost an hour. You guys want to open it up, see if anybody has any questions?
Yeah,
for
let's go
sure.
for it.
Let's do
I'm
it.
excited to see what people say.
Hell yeah.
If anybody's got any questions, please just, and we'd be more than happy to bring you up.
Even though I'm kind of involved when it comes to this, I have a very interesting, doubt that I still have when it comes to Star Atlas gameplay and the focus of everything. And again, we were chatting about this the other night. What do you guys think is going to be the main focus when it comes to gameplay for Star Atlas? You're going to think it's going to be a Star Citizen main gameplay with a little bit of Eve here and there, with the strategy aspects of Stellaris, or is it going to be the other way around, and something mainly that you will have to handle? Click here and there, move your assets to point A, to point B from point A, and then if there's some PvP involved, then it's going to be like Star Citizen. What do you guys think about that?
Hey, how's it going, man? I think I would have to break that question. I would have to ask you that question again. Like, are we talking about what do we think is going to happen in the game, or are we talking about what do we think the game is going to be like? Because I feel like that was like a two-part. I feel like that was a two-part question. I can answer it in two parts. So, if we're talking about what do we think the game is going to be like, and what would I think it's going to be like Star Citizen in the future. I think it's going to be Stellaris, Eve Online, then Star Citizen. That's how it's kind of going to play out. I think, like, development wise, and then what do I think people are mainly going to be doing in the game? I think it's going to be just pockets of everything, right? I don't think there's going to be one thing that. Hey guys, I don't think it's going to be one thing. I don't think there's going to be, pirating is going to be the biggest thing, or racing is going to be the biggest thing, or bounty hunting is going to be the biggest thing, or shipbuilding is going to be the big. I think it's just going to be, everything is going to be going on, and there's just going to be areas in the universe where everybody does everything. You know what I mean? I don't think there's going to be one highlighted thing. It's going to be such a vast world, just like the Earth that we live on. There's millions of different job occupations. There's not one that's over the other. It's just everybody's doing something. That kind of answers it.
I'm kind of on the same thing, a space sim, that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping a space sim where you could basically do a lot for a citizen in many games. Like, if you want to be a shooter, pirate, robber, Viking, you can be that. If you want to be someone who works in a poker club as a host or hostess, you could do that. I'm hoping it's a true space sim, open sandbox. Get at it, do what you want with some mechanic to it too, though, because if you've ever leaped into a true sandbox, sometimes people walk fast because they don't know what the hell to do. So you do need a little bit of like quest lines driving it. Just give them just a little bit of like, just kind of guide them. You don't have to give them the keys to the kingdom, but just kind of guide them. And I hope for every game to be an open world sandbox. Personally, I'm not. Theme parks are great and all, but if you really, really, I mean, you're talking about making money, you can't really direct somebody a certain way. You got to let them kind of make their niche. That's kind of how I see it. I'm open for a sandbox.
That's cool. And how do you see the financial aspect? Your wins and losses being incorporated to the gaming aspect of Star Atlas. How do you guys think that would be a good way to do that?
I think personally, I mean, between you're going to need businesses, mining, manufacturing, entertainment, smuggling, bounty hunting, war strategy type stuff. Like I have things planned like with escort services, things like that. But even outside the box, we're starting a radio channel, just basically to stream into these games. And, if that radio channel is successful, it's going to turn into a TV channel. It's going to born that. But these things on the blockchain can be monetized. You can talk about commercials, sponsors, like let it be gaming gear or Nike sneakers, whatever it may be. Your favorite energy drink, workout equipment, what you name it. Like, I mean, I really think there could be a lot of ways where people can be salaried to be a shooter if it's done right.
Yeah, deep. We talk about risk management. So, whatever it is you're doing, if it's outside Star Atlas or inside Star Atlas, making sure you understand fully what you're getting into and what you want to do, and then making sure that's the right decision for you personally, financially wise. Like, let's say you want to be a big warlord. You know, I wouldn't put your whole your whole fleet into every combat every single time because unless you've got the 10 Death Stars, you're asking to get wrecked. And then, how are you going to continue to play and live, et cetera, et cetera. On the flip side, on the business side, just like Frankie was saying, businesses are going to be huge when it comes to financials, whatever it may be to help, fund whatever activity is you think is most fun in the Star Atlas metaverse. I know Sonic's up here is kicking off. Quick shout out to the Supernova Racing League that we've got going on there, and some of you have seen some of that. So I think allowing individuals and groups to develop their inspiration and creativity is going to go a long way to making this not just a built universe, but a universe people want to live in, and that feels alive and is breathing.
Star Atlas, I know you've been up here for a while, HR. What do you got, man?
Yeah. I just wanted to point out something because as I was listening to you guys talking about this training and how the stuff would turn out, there's this game that turned out into some sort of social study. I don't know if you're familiar with DayZ game.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter that, it kind of introduced the permadeath property of a game where when you die, and you have to start all over again with nothing. And it's a kind of that asset thing that when you lose it, it's gone, and you have to start again. Funny thing happened in DayZ in the first weeks or months of the game start, people start ganking on new players. People calling themselves bandits, I think, and they started this group, and hunting new players for not much worthy loot, but they did terrorize that space for a while. And something beautiful happened after a while. A group of people gathered together, called heroes, and they started hunting bandits. But what I'm saying is, do you think something like that would happen in Star Atlas with players like that, because we are losing assets. We are going to lose assets eventually. And if something happens and some people start to terrorize the space, especially in the high risk zone, do you think that would happen, or at least the families, the guilds, would let that happen or not?
I personally
Hey,
don't
real
think
quick.
so.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
I got to get out of here, y'all. I appreciate you guys letting me come up here and speak, and I'll definitely be playing back the rest of this. But see you guys later, and we'll meet up whenever.
All right, bro.
Take care, my friend.
Hey, see
Take
you,
it easy,
man.
y'all.
Thanks for taking part.
I personally don't, because of the safe zone mechanics, and then you got the medium zone mechanics. Now, when you get into high risk, yeah, that can happen. But with any, and I'm telling you, as a gilded player and as a lone wolf, most success will come from guild alliances, and basically business associates. Safe zone, you won't get the same amount of reward in Star Atlas, but you should always roll in numbers. I mean, that's kind of my take on it from what I'm reading so far.
Well, that means we're gonna get stuck in the safe zone if we are weaker than most families, or the guilds. The lesser guilds should kind of just stick to the safe zone, and they can't move out, because they could be even in the medium risk zone. They could be like sieged, and they won't be able to produce anything. So you mean they're gonna get stuck anyways?
I would say, in certain games, now if Star Atlas is the size of, say, Star Citizen or larger, from what they're saying, it's a lot of space to cover. It's 3-dimensional, so it's a lot harder to find you. But that could happen. But then you're going to have people out there in specifically Atlas with planets. So if you have a good relationship with that, that guild, clan, corporation, whatever they may be, you probably would be okay. But there's always strength in numbers and skills and strategy. But there's smaller guilds that could beat the hell out of bigger guilds. It's strategy, planning, and really experience.
I do
So
believe that. I do believe that there's going to be some, up to a certain extent of bullying, and people trying to make each other's lives miserable, because that was also happening in Eve in different ways. It also happens in Star Citizen in different ways. And people that have those intentions will always find a way to do it, but always the pushback. It's super hard when it comes to those if it gets disruptive. So I do believe that there's gonna be people trying to take advantage of others within Star Atlas, but I also believe that the community is strong enough to take it. So again, it has to do a lot with who you associate with. If you have people that have a good structure, if you have people that have a good safety net for its members, offering good training programs, offering financial advice, because again, not anything and everything is only gameplay. So you need to actually surround yourself with people that are thinking of every single aspect if you want to be really involved within Star Atlas, so you can be ready.
I agree 100%. Listen, if you guys want to pick this up next week, we could do that. I don't want to keep holding everybody here. We're losing people by the handful. But if you guys want to, do this again next week, we could definitely do this. Maybe come up with a topic.
Yeah, I'm game for next week as
Sure.
well. I've had a blast.
All right, dig it. Think of a topic, and we'll come up with it, and we'll attack. And of course, everybody's invited, and any ideas, throw them at us, because that'd be great.
Yeah, I'm open to anything that the audience that wants to discuss next week. And as always, I'm looking forward to building those relationships.
Agreed. All right, well, that was cool, man. I mean, and I think we can get much deeper. I mean, but we don't want to sit here for 17 hours talking. I think we'll bore everybody. It'll be just us talking, but we're pretty.
Any longer, and I'll have to finish this entire bottle of whiskey here.
Yeah, hey, I'm coming over there then.
Anytime.
All right, cool. Like, hey, open forum too, guys. Like, we could do this. We'll do, maybe a little more structured if you want, or we'll just shoot it from the hip.